Hello, I'm Ciaran Doran and welcome to A Table for Four. Today I'm joined by three lovely guests and we're going to be working with decoupage, and the project is called Memories Are Made of This. So I'm going to be doing a very quick demonstration and then we'll be taking part and you get to take home your lovely thing that you're working on plus a few extra goodies. I'm going to work my way around the table and like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Constanza. I'm from Argentina originally, but I've been living here for the past 5 years, and I'm a film graduate and I'm doing my master's in animation. So I've done a bit of stop motion and modeling and things like that.
Are you interested in crafts?
Yes, I'm very interested in. I like to try everything once.
Okay, well, it's lovely to have you here. We look forward to hearing maybe about some of your life at home and the types of things you've done and your film work and animation as well. It'd be lovely. It's always nice to know what people do. And I'd like to know your name and where you're from and what you do.
Well, my name is James. I am currently doing my final year at Ulster University in fashion design and textiles, specialising in garment construction and knit. And I really love crafts. I've always loved just trying things out and seeing what's around the house and what you can make out of it and just having fun with it.
Okay, well, you're very welcome to the programme. Look forward to seeing your wonderful creation. Over to you. I'd love you to introduce yourself. A very warm welcome to the programme.
Hi, my name's Jan. I retired from work through ill health, so after about 6 months I got very bored and decided I needed to do something. I walked into my local community office and said, what can I do? And I ended up then teaching various crafts around local community centres, all for mental health, basically my mental health, but also for the people that took the classes as well.
That's lovely, and thank you for coming along today. Okay, so before we start, I'm just going to try and make a little bit of room. I've handed you out some glue. We're using a PVA glue, which is water-based, and nothing too much can go wrong with it. Just don't lick your fingers or stick yourself together, but I've got some wipes and everything if you need them. You've got a nice little circle cut out of newspaper. I find if you put too much newspaper down, I end up using all the space. It's just to keep us a little bit contained, and we've got more if you need it. Decoupage can get a bit messy, but half of the fun is making something from that mess. And what I've got for you is, I brought my turntable in today for showing off afterwards, but I'll give you a little go there. It is a gift box that was given to me with a gift in, and I've used it several times, kind of just keeping things in it. And then I thought, do you know what, this would be perfect for the show today. So the technique, this is called decoupage. Decoupage is basically a very fancy word for cutting out and sticking on, and very popular in the Victorian era, where people would have used it in their homes. They would have used it on walls, they would have used it on wardrobes. It would be used to sometimes conceal if there was a door into like a dressing room or something, and it would often be beautiful, ornate illustrations and pictures. This box has been covered in paper napkin.
All right.
So it's not a secret, but it was a phenomenon that was discovered that a 3-ply napkin that you can buy anywhere has actually got 3 layers, and you can peel those layers back and it gives you the most absorbent paper. When you're doing decoupage, you want a paper that sucks up the water but will stick with the glue. So the technique is you saturate your surface with water with a little bit of glue. I would say 50-50. So put a bit of water on, then put a bit of glue on. I glue my surface first, then I take my strips, and you literally almost have one go at it. But the beauty is that you just go with it. So that's why it's a kind of freestyle activity. You don't have to worry too much. Here, these storks of these exotic birds, by default, I've invented a new breed here completely. It's got 2 heads, but that doesn't matter. It's part of the creative process. And what I've done is I've left a little corner here that I'm just going to show you how I do that. The gold leaf, you can add at any stage. How do you add your gold leaf when you're using it?
At the very end, it's the last thing that goes on.
Just as a little touch?
Yes.
Yeah, because it can, you find when you're using gold leaf, you'll find it everywhere and you don't realise, you're getting the bus home and you realise you're kind of covered in gold paint. So I'm just going to try and clear a bit of space. I'm going to hand you these, and you get to take these home with you in your lovely goodie bag. But I just want you to have a flick through. And a tip, when you are doing decoupage, you literally don't cut it, you rip. This is when I find I can't rip the paper. You rip. And you enjoy that ripping. And what you get is that lovely edge there. That edge is really beautiful because it kind of buffers up if you do something else. Now, you could keep your box typographical. Your box has got a little magnetic clasp on it. What would you put in it? Love letters, letters from home, stamps.
Sweets.
Sweets. Okay, James, you can keep sweeties in yours. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you that little pile. That's for you.
Thank you.
And what I have here, purely by default, when you're looking for something, you can never find it. When you're not looking for it, you find it. I just happen to have a few alphabet stickers that talk about reusing. There were 61. I've obviously had a bit of a go here. A couple of O's and N's missing. I know who got them. So if you wanted to put an initial on that, or even a lot of people are embossing their initials on things now, or using a wax seal. So those are up for everybody to use. So I'm going to put those there. What I wanted to do, Jan, is I offered you some of the patterns purely because the paper on a pattern is beautifully old-fashioned and it really absorbs the glue really, really well. I've got a few more here in my little kind of Bible, some wonderful,
Yes,
I can
that
remember
style
wearing
one,
those,
yes.
very 1980s. We're from the same era, we would have worn those with our big shoulder pads on our way to Gary Newman concerts. You have a choice of either using the patterns or would you like to go for the napkins?
I'll use the patterns.
Or use the patterns. Would you like to show us the box that you've chosen? It's quite interesting. It's like a mini wardrobe almost, isn't it?
So it's this box, and then it opens up like this.
That's gorgeous. That is beautiful. That's gorgeous. So what I'd like you to do for this book, because I need the outside bit of the book for another project, for our bookmaking workshop, please feel free to rip, or what you can do. I mean, don't worry about taking them all out, but just feel free to have a look. You might want to go by colour, you might want to go by subject, but I know you'll come up with something really beautiful and creative. So I'm going to let you have a start. So taking the humble paper napkin, and you just are going to peel off one of the layers. Just there we go. So what I've done is dampen the corner slightly, and that separates it. So you literally pull that apart. Makes a lovely sound actually, really beautiful, very gentle. So that is one layer, but I'm going to keep that because that is really handy if you've got messy fingers or messy brushes. The second layer is more tricky, but it does come off. Here we go. And on that second layer, you've got almost like a ghost image of what you're using. So I even find that quite beautiful. Then what I do is I've only got a small corner to cover. I've only got this bit to cover. So I don't cut my tissue. I just gently tear it like that. Okay. Now this is obviously going to go into one of its quarters. But again, it's what I was saying, these fabric people next to me, your fabric will tear naturally one way and go quite well. When you try and tear it another way, it's to do with the warp and the weft. You see, it's going wonky. But I don't mind that because that helps me get quite a good tear. And then I pick an item just to tear, and you kind of tease it open. You don't have to use this technique with your paper. Your paper might be quite delicate, but you'll be able to tear it quite well. I'm going to aim to take this bit out. So I just go here. So it doesn't matter if it's what I would call very variegated, like a leaf, as long as you've got your rough shape. So I'm just going to take that. In fact, I'm going to overlay it on what's already there, which is quite helpful. So I'm just going to work out, well, that's going to fit. That will be fine. Where there are perforations on the napkin, I don't mind. It just gives a little bit of texture, gives a little bit of detail. I like to use a long handled paintbrush. The reason being, the longer your paintbrush, the more relaxed your strokes will be and the more you can be quite delicate. If your paintbrush is quite small, there's a tendency to go like this. So I just take some water in my tin can. I'm literally just popping it on here. Now, if you're going over and decoupaging where you've done something before, your PVA is quite waterproof. I then just take about the equivalent again. It is a bit of guesswork. That's why I've given you a little palette. You'll get to see what your consistency is like. And it doesn't matter if you overlap. When it bubbles, I know that I'm doing it right. You get like a kind of almost like a little, I'm not saying it's a cappuccino, but it's a little bit of froth. Can you see that? That means that that's going okay. So what you do is work quite quickly, but the kind of technique is almost like blot it on rather than paint it in strokes. That's why you've got quite a bit of control. You then, finding the right piece, it's a bit like matching wallpaper with everybody watching you. You just pop that on, okay? Everybody has different techniques. This is what I use. I then pat that down, okay? Obviously you could be a bit smoother, but can you see that's actually patting down quite well. If you want to tear your edge, the best way to do it is put your paintbrush on the edge, and it's like a laser cutter. The water will just, because you're working with tissue paper, be a bit more difficult with some of the more durable paper, and then you can just pull that off like that. So I'm going to keep all my bits on here. So I then take a little bit more glue, and this is the bit I really enjoy. You start blending. I could have trimmed that, but I've decided not to. But I've actually got a new bird, a new shape. As you can see, I'm just taking my brush across it. You can add more glue. You can't take it off if you put too much on. So it's a little bit like a recipe for life. Don't do anything you're going to regret later. Just work with it. It depends how you apply it as well. But that will dry. There'll be a little bit of a wrinkle, but I quite like to, when your fingers warm up, you don't want to press it too much because you can ruin it when it's wet. But there'll be a point of no return where you can no longer maneuver it. So as long as you're happy with that, well, my duck has now got 4 beaks, but that's fine. That doesn't matter. I'm going to just add a little bit here. So while I'm doing that, what I'd like you to do is make a start. That's some extra tissue paper for you if you need that. I imagine, yes, go for it. Isn't that a fantastic image? That is fun with odds and ends. Well, that's what you're going to keep in your box. That's wonderful. So, and Constanza, you just do it in your style. So what we're doing is, or we are doing some cutting. So that's a brilliant way. I just love also the colours and the typography. It's a great thing for perfect. I think you're making a new sewing box. What I'm actually doing is I'm just finishing off this corner. And again, my fingers have warmed up quite a bit now. So it's quite incredible. Just after about 5 minutes of doing this, I'm able to press down and the glue is nice and tacky. I never worry about adding too much water, but I don't want to add too much glue. So I'm just going to add the glue and water mixed together here. So as you can see, we're finishing off that edge quite nicely. And again, using that little technique to take the edge off. Might be difficult on your paper, but just run that across. Actually, that's folding down on itself, which is quite nice. So I'm going to, there. That's actually worked quite well. You can get carried away when you are, as I am now, when you are experimenting and showing. Just keep your layers even. And because I've been working on this for a little while to get it prepared for the program, I've just kind of done one layer all the way around. you can build up textures. Say you had something quite scenic that you wanted to make a little bit three-dimensional, you can build it up that way with lots of glue. So have you ever done anything like this before? Any decoupage?
Well, around about 10 years ago, I got the opportunity to work with Banbridge District Council. And during that time, I worked and facilitated arts and events. So through that, I did a lot of community workshops and workshops for like summer schemes for children, for arts and crafts. That was very interesting. So it was less partaking and more protecting the children from themselves, but it was very interesting and very, very fun. Yeah.
Wonderful. And you've moved into fashion now, haven't you?
Yes, I have. As I said, I'm finishing my last year at Ulster University, and I'm hoping to go on to work in either film and television or maybe start my own little brand.
And what would your brand be? What would brand James be?
I would like to make flexible clothing, so not really gender specific, because clothes are clothes and you wear what you like and you don't wear what you don't like. And that's that. And good quality pieces that would last a long time. So form and function and finish and durability.
Well, that's lovely. Thank you so much.
Of course.
I'm just going to check and see how Jan's getting on. Jan, oh, this looks absolutely gorgeous. How do you feel tearing up real patterns? Are you okay with it?
Well, the ones that I have torn up so far have already been torn up.
there's,
after what's been used before.
There's a lovely term in museums when you are checking a document and you're looking at the condition and you're trying to describe the fact that it's falling apart.
Yeah.
I would call it mouse nibbled. So I think there are a few mouse nibbles around the edges of that. It doesn't mean it's literally a mouse, but it looks like a mouse has been there. That's lovely. I love your technique as well. That's really, what I'd love to do is maybe just, could I just stop you for one moment just to show the audience how you're getting on? Perhaps if you just hold that up and show that over there. That's really lovely. Lovely technique. You've obviously done this before. And you are neat, very neat indeed. That's lovely. So Constanza, let me see how you're getting on. This is lovely. So you put something, you see, you just found the perfect picture. Isn't it incredible? Sometimes the things fit perfectly. That's great. That's lovely. One thing I meant to say is remember which way you're working around your box.
Yes.
So that if you needed to turn it upside down to dry it. So Constanza, tell me how you came to live in Northern Ireland.
So I've been here for the past 5 years and I spent a year in Poland before that. When I finished my bachelor's in film and television, I really wanted to do my master's in animation, and I had been doing things in animation, but mostly independent short films. So I really wanted to get my master's, and that's how I came here to study at Ulster University. It took me a few years to get there, but I'm doing my master's in animation now.
Wow, that's incredible. And what would your preferred style be?
So now I'm doing a lot of digital stuff, so mostly 2D and 3D digital animation, but I really miss getting my hands on, like doing things that are more tangible.
Like
so
stop motion?
Yeah, that's something that I've done like 10 years ago. I was in a series, a TV show that was in the AMC Film Festival. So I was an art assistant and we used to model the characters, and I really miss that, and I really miss the sets and everything. Like you have a lot of real life things that that I don't get to work with anymore because I'm doing mostly digital things.
Yeah.
So I like a bit of both.
Yeah. And what type of crafts would you do at home?
I kind of like collage a bit, like that's, what I like finding things more than just like creating things from scratch. I like finding, so I felt like this was the best idea for me. Like this would be the perfect workshop for me.
And I was just looking at the way you're working and what I'll also give you in your packs. I mean, for me, every bit of packaging has potential. I'm not saying I would use that as a memory box, but that little makeup box is perfect just for like keeping stationery in. I'd just like everybody to take a moment to look at James's beautiful box. I think this is fabulous. That is really, really gorgeous. That's stunning. And once that's dry, that's going to really, really pop. That's beautiful. I just love the illustrations, don't you?
Yeah, I love
that book great?
Yeah. All the chapter titles are now gone. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's fine. That's wonderful. And Constanza, could we just have a look at yours, see how you're getting on?
Yes. So I started with this side.
Lovely.
And then I found this, which I really liked, because I felt like...
It's a nice quotation.
Yeah.
Can I read it?
Yes.
This is what happens. I'm going to have to put my glasses on for this. Oh, that's uncanny.
Yes.
Okay, what surprised you about life in Ireland? How slow things are here in business and in life. It allows for a better quality of life. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is quite emotional, isn't it? That magazine was incredible. It's such a shame it folded, but they will be very pleased to know that it's being used and will now have some longevity. Well, you're working away there perfectly. That is looking lovely. Could I hold yours up to show?
Yes, I kept this rather than the dress because
It's nicely folded, isn't
I
it?
bought a lot of my patterns in Anderson McCulloch.
Did you?
Yeah.
Is that?
It was one of the places that you could really get a
Wow.
wide variety.
This is gorgeous. I mean, if you use these in a workshop, people will be wanting to buy them from you. Can I just show that to the audience? Isn't that lovely? That's really nice. So what you could do with this, if you have time, another nice thing to do is to pad your memory box. You know, if it's a memory box and you're gifting to somebody, the thing I found about a memory box is you can't tell people what memories to put in it. Some people might want to keep it empty. I have 3 boxes that were sent to me from when my mother passed away, and 5 years later I haven't had the courage to open them, but when I do, all those things will go into various boxes to match up with other things, maybe her letters or photographs or just postcards that I sent her that she kept that I've now got back. And apparently, legally, when that happens, the postcard is owned by the person who wrote it. So the fact that I've got it back is really touching, that she kept it for me to then have. And some of them are in my best 1970s. Do you remember when bubble writing was really...
I could never
nice?
do that.
So bubble writing was like really cool. And so above an I, you'd draw a little circle. And if it was your name, you'd do it like a really big. So my name was great because I had quite a lot of curves in it. So I think we could just talk about our school days
yes,
quite
exactly.
happily. So your memory box, if you wanted to pad it, what I would do is you cut a piece of card for the bottom bit, make it slightly smaller, and then just put a little bit of wadding, got a little bit here, put a layer of polyester wadding on top. Don't worry about gluing it, just set it down and then cover that in some fabric, and then just, like, remember when you'd cover your school books? You probably don't remember having to cover your school books.
I didn't, it was covered for me.
Covered for you? Oh, that's fabulous. So you would cover that, so you got like a little cushion at the bottom, then cut your inserts. I do it by just cutting a bit of card and seeing how much I've got to cut off, because once you've put water on a cardboard box, no matter how much you measure it, the size will slightly be distorted. So it just gets annoying if you cut things how you think the measurement should be. So cut it to size from making a little template and just cover them with fabric and stick them in so you can get quite a nice cushioned little box. I'm very quickly just going to add one tiny bit of gold leaf, then that's it. And then I'm going to have a look at all your pieces. So I'm just going to, sorry to reach across to you there, with gold leaf. This is a really quick little demo. Find the most recent bit, which I think is here. And what I like to do is just a tiny bit of just glue. And I pat it on. And you kind of want it to be a bit tacky. Not in the horrible sense, I mean tacky as in to touch. And your gold leaf comes with a lovely little piece of paper that is really good for burnishing down. Now, you don't want a window open or a door blowing or the central heating on when you're doing this, because it will waft. And you literally pop it down over your glue, and I'm just going to let that settle and then in a couple of minutes I will rub that off. So I'm just going to leave that there for now. And what you do is you let your gold leaf dry where you've put the glue, and then when it's dry you take your piece of paper and you rub it over the top, and that will burnish it down. So I'm going to leave that there to dry. So what I'm going to do is just work my way around the table. Jan, I'd just like to have a look at yours. We're coming near the close of the workshop. You've made an absolutely fantastic job of that. That is so retro, so vintage, so gorgeous. You've covered everything from a kind of 1980s new romantic era. You've got the typography in as well, but also those patterns there are absolutely gorgeous. Well done. So you're happy to carry on creating that. That's brilliant. I'm just going to go over to Constanza now. And how are you getting on now? Oh, that's lovely.
I've done this part now, and I added some pink. And this is very urban because it has a lot of like tattoos and like this hat, and I don't know, I went for like an urban style.
That's
and
beautiful.
Yeah, I added some
text.
Some text, yeah.
Yeah. Could I just take it and have a look? I promise I won't get any gold on it. What I'd like to do is just show the audience there, so you can get a really good look at that. Isn't that, you see, this is the beauty of a table for four. You can have 3, 4 people all working in exactly the same medium, and you get something completely different. Okay, that is lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. And keep sticking, keep going. Finally, James, would you have time to talk me through your lovely box?
So I didn't get very far. I only got
You've done brilliantly.
two bits
Amazingly.
done.
I think I might have to get the turntable out for this one. There we go. Wow. Would you like me to revolve it slowly while you talk to us about it?
Sure. So I had the book originally with the craft ideas for children, so I just wanted to play into like the craft movement in America. So I went with like the bold geometric like colours and contrasts, and yeah.
That is lovely. What I love is that the inside of the box looks like a geography teacher's tie from the 1970s.
Or like
is
a
that
couch.
really, really, or a couch, yeah. Beautiful. That is absolutely lovely. Now you're still drying a little bit there, so we might need to construct something to help it. It's like a little house, actually, a little craft house.
Yeah,
well
a little
done,
craft
Jen.
house.
What I'm going to do is leave that on there for a couple of moments just to let it dry, and just take a moment to say it's a huge, big thank you to you for coming in. Have you enjoyed it, Constanza?
I loved it, yes.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great experience because I haven't done anything like it, so I got a lot of new tips.
So Constanza, thank you so much for coming in and taking part. James, I know yours is still drying a little bit, but I think you're almost there with that. You've almost finished. So have you enjoyed working on this project with decoupage?
It's been nice and like relaxing and chill.
You've brought it to another level. Thank you so much. Well, that's a table for four finish for today. If you've enjoyed finding out how to do decoupage, we'd love you to have a go and love to see what you can do. So thank you also to the audience for coming along and giving us such wonderful support. Thank you for now. Bye-bye.